Here, because I figured if I do nothing else.
Just be careful and try not to walk back.
My arms aren't that long. I'd have to like really.
Everybody, if our candidates can just come and take a seat, we'll get started in just a couple minutes, but we'll get our candidates. And to see a couple more people on in now, so we'll just give people a chance to settle in real quick before we get started. Right here.
Wonderful. I cannot get over it. You're so wonderful. No, that's would be able to do that. Oh, wow. Oh, you were
Oh, you mean the music? Oh, yeah. We did that for the wedding. We didn't have like a band. We just had
We got some seats right up here for y'all if you like. It's like church. It's like church. This one's the last one. All right, everybody, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. This is great. My name is Dylan Bodner. I am the chair of the Voter Services Committee for the League of Women Voters of Alachua County. We are the League of Women Voters of Alachua County, not the League of Women Voters of Gainesville, which is why we're really excited to be doing this candidate forum here in the city of Alachua. This is our first time doing something sort of like this, not in the city of Gainesville, so I think it's great. We wanted to give all of the voters of the city of Alachua a chance to hear from their candidates. So thank you to all of our candidates for being here. Thank you to all of the League of Women Voters volunteers. who have helped with this. We've got Candy, who will be our moderator today, Allison, Lori, Gwendolyn is over here, she assisted. Anybody else from the league? No, that's great. All right, so without further ado, I'll turn it over to our moderator, Candy, and we'll go ahead and get started with today's forum. All right, thank you so much for being here. Candidates, there's a switch on that microphone. Just turn it on and off whenever you need to use it. But I'll turn it over to Candy right now, and she will kick us off. Thank you.
So, thank you so much. Just before we started, I asked my husband, I said, you have silenced your phone, right? And so just checking, it's just one of those things that it's my phone, it's always the one that rings up. And so it's not the end of the world if it happens. So, again, good afternoon. I'm just so grateful to see all of you here. I'm a member of the League of Women Voters in Alachua County, and I'm the moderator for today. Here's some important facts. The City Commission is composed of a mayor and 4 commissioners. They all serve 3-year terms, although elections for various members are held every single year. All city commissioners represent the entire city and are elected in nonpartisan elections. And the league is nonpartisan, so we like that idea as well. This year's election is scheduled for April 8th, as many of you may know, and the candidates for Commissioner Seat 1 and Seat 2 are appearing on everyone's ballot. Lori over there has a copy of the ballot. It's pretty short, but there is a copy of what the ballot would look like. There are 2 candidates running in each of the 2 positions on the ballot. The candidates for Seat 1 are Dick Coper and Walter Welch, and the candidates for Seat 2 are Jacob Fletcher and Edward Potts. All the candidates who qualified to run for office were invited to attend, and we welcome the candidates who are here today. Thank you so much. Walter Welch, Seat 1, Jacob Fletcher, Seat 2, and Edward Potts, Seat 2. We also welcome all of you audience members who have joined us. We just are so grateful that you are here. We will begin with each candidate making a 3-minute opening statement. Following the opening statements, I will read questions that have been prepared by the League of Women Voters. No one has seen these questions, so each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each of those questions. And during the first round, we start in alphabetical order. We'll start with Seat 1, alphabetical, and then Seat 2. And then I will stagger the order for each of the candidates to respond. So the candidates have a little form like this that says who's going to be the first one in each one of those. And so after the questions, each candidate will have 2 minutes to make a closing statement as well. The candidates will be able to see the timer, plus we also have Miss Allison Keel there who will help that as well. It indicates when there's remaining time at 30 seconds and then stop. You may finish your sentences, but please stop when your time is up. Audience members will be able to ask questions of the candidates during the meet and greet after this forum, if that's okay with you. And it works out nicely that you could do that. And in addition to that, we can get through this forum if we kind of hold our applause until the end, and that way we'll be able to move right along. We now begin with the candidates' opening statements. I'll sit down. You each have 3 minutes, and we will begin with Walter Welch at Seat 1.
Good afternoon, people. My name is Walter Welch, and I'm here running for mayor of Alachua. I am a pastor here in your great city, and my focus point first, I want to bring unity and respect. I believe that is very important for us moving forward and growing. We can learn how to be unified and respect one another, because each and every one of us has some great qualities that we can share. And that is who I am, and I'm a firm believer in doing what is right, because as I said, I'm a pastor, and I try to follow the laws of God first. I want to be able thing about it, and I want to just bring that harmony to the city. Respect and unity.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Jacob Fletcher, C2, your opening statement, please.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm truly honored. Is it on? How about that? There we go. All right, well, let me say it again. Thank you. I'm truly honored to be invited to speak at this candidate forum. And I have great admiration for the hard work over the past century that the League of Women Voters have done in furthering the ability to vote for all demographics. And the past few months, I've been talking with many people, door knocking, getting their views on the city, and one of the common traits that I've found with this election is that 95% of the people I spoke with had zero idea that there was an election actually occurring. And to them, that was concerning, and to me, that is concerning that 95% of these people do not know that this election is happening. And so that's the responsibility of our city commissioners, and as a city commissioners, we need to focus on getting that voter turnout. We look at our past elections, 2020, where we had a 74.9% voter turnout for the county, and then we look at our past, which had a historical high of 84.9%. Yet our city elections run around 14.9% of our registered voters. There's a discrepancy there. And when the city commission passes a motion that aims to continue the status quo with keeping elections on these inaccessible, I would say, dates, we see a pattern where we're trying to limit our voters and our voter engagement. Another thing on this is we don't have to do much to promote our elections. Simple Facebook posts. And we've seen on our own city's Facebook page, we posted since the proclamation 100 Facebook posts. Only one of them was about the election, and that was several weeks after our election. So one of the big things that I want to bring as a commissioner is transparency and accountability. There's many other issues going on with our city regarding development, regarding our own staff, and even our infrastructure. But what we need to do first is make sure that these people in our community, us fellow Alachuans, have a voice, and they're being able to let that voice be heard. So I just want to say, go out and vote, please. That's our right, no matter which candidate you choose for.
Thank you. Edward Potts, C2.
Thank you. I want to thank the League of Women Voters of Alachua County and Dylan specifically for coordinating this event. It is important, and we do want our folks to vote. My name is Ed Potts, and I am running for C2 Commission, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about how we arrived here. So it was 13 years ago. My wife and I fell in love with this community at an annual event. For us, it was the lighting of the Christmas tree. Santa arrives on Main Street. The kids get to count down the pressing the button and lighting up the Christmas tree, and that environment, the engagement, my wife is a huge Christmas person anyway, so I mean, we were swept up in that, and we've been embedded in the community ever since. I've been fortunate enough to serve as the president of the Alachua Lions Club and also the Alachua Chamber of Commerce, and I continue to serve in both of those organizations. But let's talk about today and the exciting things that are happening in our city. Economic development is important, it's exciting, but it has to be managed to ensure our uniqueness remains in place. keeping our small town quality of life is vitally important, and we have to keep that in mind as we manage the growth of our city. Education schools are vital to any community, and we're no different. We established an education task force 2 years ago, and the work that they've done has been incredible. However, they have told us through their research that we must better support our teachers, our administrators, parents, and our pre-K local providers. This has pushed us toward collaborating with UF, Santa Fe College, the Alachua Chamber, the Education Foundation. We simply can't rely on the school board of Alachua County to move us forward and improve the outcomes for our next generation. Finally, in order to achieve the full potential as a city, I will, as your commissioner, continue to fight for transparency and improved leadership in our planning and development process, partner and invest in the education of our next generation, and champion the necessary infrastructure development in order to foster smart economic growth. Thank you.
And so now we will begin with the questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to give a response to each question. So question number 1 will go to Jacob Fletcher. Looky there. He's such a techie. Question 1 is, when making decisions about new development, how would you suggest that your colleagues on the City Commission balance community development with the preservation of natural resources? So, when making decisions about new development, how would you suggest your colleagues on the City Commission balance community development with the preservation of natural resources? Jacob Fletcher.
So one of the phrases, and I guess it's a buzzword at this point, is smart growth. Everyone says we want smart growth, and that's what we'll say we want for this problem. But what does that actually mean, smart growth? And to me, smart growth in solving these types of issues where we're balancing community development and our natural resources is first understanding what infrastructure is actually in place in these locations, right? Does this 1,000-home development have the roads available for it? Is the roads available for it? Is our water capacity for that area? But also, is there ways we can work around these natural resources in more environmentally friendly ways while still providing housing to our community? And so when we look at things like housing developments, we find that it's not happening in the city of Alachua. Since 2021, we have not pretty much stopped the development, except for the Schmidt Farms development this past month. That was the only motion for development that was stopped. So when we talk about how do we balance it, the first we need to actually critique it and actually look into it before we go and we rubber stamp these developments and go through with them. But it's looking at a holistic picture of what's our infrastructure. Do our roads support this? Is it good for the community? And oftentimes we bring these concerns to the city, and we don't hear that. You don't hear that feedback of, hey, our concerns are valid, and that's concerning. Because if I'm commissioner, I want to hear your concerns, and I want to make actions based off of those concerns, because it's our community.
Thank you. Edward Potts, C2. Your answer.
Thank you. When we're talking about the preservation of natural resources in regards to a development project, it's looked at the same as traffic impact or the population of our schools. So infrastructure has to be looked at. It's looked at before that item is going to get through planning and zoning and presented to the city commission. I applaud and we've got a couple of folks here in this room that regularly come to city commission meetings, even when they're not particularly exciting topics, to stay on top of what's going on and to share their public opinion. That is meaningful. It's meaningful because you're speaking on behalf of a whole lot of people who aren't paying attention and maybe even live in those same developments. When I get emails or phone calls in regards to your concern about habitat and how it's going to affect your particular home, that's meaningful and important, and I try to always thank folks for taking the time to share that opinion. But primarily our votes are going to be based upon whether it's meeting our land development regulations and our city code and all of the economic and ecological determinations that have to be made before that item is going to come in front of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Walter Welch, seat 1, your answer please.
I pretty much agree with what you already heard. And to way I will see this and making new development, I heard them talk about the community. I would like to really relate to the people like I has been doing. I walked around and I knocked on doors and I listened to their concern. And I feel before we can make any decision, we need to collaborate or take what we hear under consideration. And we, as in office, you know, we put all of the concerns of the people together. And then we decide on which way we should handle, resolve that problem. And that's what I'm focusing on. I'm focused on really not just making decisions, but what's best for the city, what's best for our community, you know, because see, we have to look at and respect each and every one concerned, because if we want the city to support us, then we need to be able to hear some of the issues that they have learned. So my time is up, and I thank you. That is about what I wanted to say.
Thank you. So now question 2 will be answered by Edward Potts, and here is the question. Question 2, with thousands of new residences in the city's horizon, how do you suggest the city commission address the traffic congestion frequently experienced on US 441 and other parts of the city?
That's a great question, and we do have the potential of thousands of homes being built, but we're a long way from those homes being built. Those projects are done in phases, and it's done over time. But again, before a project comes before the city commission, traffic studies have to be done to make sure that our roads will accommodate ingress and egress to those particular developments. The challenge, of course, with 441 is Florida Department of Transportation is going to be involved in those discussions, and I'll use an example in front of Turkey Creek. If a stoplight is necessary or isn't necessary, you'll think it's necessary if you're trying to turn left out of there at 7 o'clock in the morning. And the FDOT will tell you that, well, we've determined you do qualify for a stoplight. However, that list of stoplights is very long. So when we get it, who knows? But again, the work on those particular projects, the traffic studies are done as those projects come in, and when there's pushback or where there's a problem, those items are simply going to get denied or pushed back until the numbers fit. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, Walter Welch.
Once again, I agree with what the commissioner was saying, and we need to address this traffic, the traffic that we have on 441 in those places. And I think that, if we come together, we can find a better solution on how we are on these situations. But as of this moment, that would need a lot of work with, and like I heard, we can get department, in our transportation departments in that area, and stoplights. And I think that if we put more like caution signs, it's just a thought, caution. And I think that, getting with the commissioners, it's something that, you just can't give an answer right away. It's something that you have to really sit down and collaborate with everyone else and come up with some type of ideas. But I have confidence in the city. I have confidence in City Hall. I have confidence in all the staff there. And we will come up with something that will accommodate these questions. I believe in progress, and I believe in the city. And I believe that if we come together, we will come up with a solution to address these type of sessions that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Jacob Fletcher. You're next.
So traffic is on everyone's mind. Whether or not you're leaving your home at 6 a.m. or even 10 a.m., getting through 441 is pretty much a nightmare for everyone. When we talk about whose responsibility it is, we see a shift on, oh, it's the county's problem. Oh, it's the state's problem. We're gonna just wait and not do anything until they do something. But when we look at the city itself and our obligations as a city, there's a couple things that point out. One is capacity, like Mr. Potts said for the last question. As long as it fits within our capacity requirements and our reports. But what also happens is it's our job as a commissioner to scrutinize those reports, particularly with traffic. Multiple applications for developments in the city have used traffic reports that were conducted during 2021 and the beginning of 2022. I don't know if you're familiar with the traffic during that time, but it was pretty much non-existent because everyone was working home from COVID. That is something a commissioner should be scrutinizing and bringing up when these applications come through. The other thing on it is our land impact development fees with the county. Since 2009, we don't enforce it. These are the funds that would help repair roads such as County Road 235 and 8 with those divots, because we're supposed to be collecting land development impact road fees, but we're not, because it would be too detrimental to development to charge this. So what we need to do with our commission and as a commissioner is making sure that these developers, one, are paying their fair share, and we are scrutinizing these applications that come forth to the city commissioners, because we are the final line in making sure our citizens and our community is protected, whether that's through traffic or our natural resources. It's the commission's job to do that.
Thank you. And now we'll go to question 3, which will be answered first by Walter Welch. Here's the question. 3 city planners recently resigned, and 1 released an open letter describing his concern with outside influences on decision-making. What role do you think the city commission has in addressing the issues raised? Let me read it one more time. 3 city planners recently resigned, and 1 released an open letter describing his concern with outside influences on decision-making. What role do you think the city commission has in addressing the issues that were raised?
Well, I would say that, in issues like that we can, for whatever reason, our mindset is that we have to dismiss that because it's already been done and move forward, move forward with the plan. We can't dwell on things of that nature or cause that to stagnate us in our decision. we have to dismiss that, but my point is, when things like that come up, the citizens might want to know, why did they resign? So my thing is, I feel like the citizens, before things happen, that they don't need to be blindsided and have to wait and say, what? I got 1 minute and I'm gonna try to sum it up. So I feel like, before something like this happens, it needs to be addressed. If we in the city office knowing that's what's going on, we need to somehow allow the citizens to be aware. So when it does happen, we don't have to know all these, what's going on, what is this, why did they resign, why did they quit, why? We need to do better in communication, is what I feel. And communication with officials and the citizens. And if we keep that communication going right, then I think we are operating in the right manner.
Thank you. Jacob Fletcher, your answer, please.
I've been very vocal about this issue. It's our responsibility as city commissioners to root out any corruption or undue influence that negatively affects our community. This is an interesting case because the city actually had a motion to investigate it, but it wasn't until individuals spoke out against it that have strong ties with the development community that the motion was I don't know how to word it, softened to just exit interviews. And even that wasn't enough for our city commission to actually take action to find the root cause of this. And this was before the letter. And if we look at what's on the agenda for the next city commission meeting, it's about hiring a third-party planning company to take over the duties of the planning company of the city, instead of actually looking into this and putting resources. And also, if our vote doesn't go the way we want, our commission, our ability as a commissioner and as a person doesn't stop there, because we're a citizen too. And we can go and we can talk to them. We would have found out that when we said, oh, there was 2 exit interviews done, we find out that there was only 1, and that both of them were not done. So when we're trying to build transparency and accountability, it must be done regardless of the pressure from whether that's on the commission or the community, because we owe that to our citizens. And if the vote doesn't go our way, our work as a commissioner does not stop there, right? We need to go and find out what we can do to solve this. Thank you.
Thank you. Edward Potts, your answer, please.
Well, I agree with both of my colleagues on the table in regards to transparency. That issue in regards to the 3 planners leaving, my comments from the dais in meeting 1 were we've lost 75% of our professional planning staff and 90% of our experience. I consider it to be catastrophic. It's something that certainly needs to be further looked at, to listen to those planners and see what they have to say, not to bring them back necessarily. They may have made their decision, their final decision to leave, but we should learn from it. The motion that my colleague talked about was my motion. And when I feared we wouldn't get the vote, I reduced it from maybe less investigatory and at least getting that information from those people, learning from them. I have spoken to all 3 of them, and so I feared that information would come out. They were not given the chance to share that information, and disappointing that I couldn't get my fellow commissioners to agree with me enough to carry that vote. Thank you.
And now we will ask Jacob Fletcher to answer question 4. How do you see the role of advisory boards playing in shaping the city policies? Are there additional ways you think the public should be involved with city decisions? Would you like me to repeat that?
Citizen advisory boards are essential to gaining to understanding the needs of the community, and promoting that is, again, essential. And I've seen the city has done well with promoting these advisory boards, particularly I think it's the community redevelopment for the downtown one. But there's another advisory board that seems to not understand its purpose, and that is the Planning and Zoning Board. This board is an advisory board which has the power to send stuff to the commission regarding developments. And what I've seen with that, and based off of that board itself, is a belief that they have no power, that they do not shape the decisions of the city. And that is something that all advisory boards should not feel that way. They should not feel that they have to just stamp stuff that comes their way. And our job as commissioners is to make sure that we're putting the right people that correctly reflect our communities in these positions, because it's not, even though it's not a voted or elected position, these are positions of power that affect our community. And we need to make sure that they are given the right tools and they are given the right information, and that we are promoting this to all areas of the city to have that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Edward Potts, your answer, please.
Again, a lot of the same things that my colleague mentioned, advisory boards, and we have several folks in the room right now that serve on those boards, and they're volunteer roles, and it's an important part. You're speaking for others in our community who either can't serve or haven't chosen to serve. So whether it's our parks and recreation advisory of our senior citizens, the folks who are on the education task force, they are doing significant work to help advance our community, and that is important. Sadly, sometimes we can't fill roles, and so if you're a citizen of Alachua and you're interested in serving, certainly reach out to me, reach out to the city, the website, and you can see the number of boards we have and the positions that are open. Again, I agree with what my colleague said. It's important that we hear those voices, and we need that involvement and that volunteer participation. Thank you.
Thank you. And your answer, Ms. Alachua.
Yes, the advisory board is a great board. Actually, I've worked on that board for 7 years to the advisory task force. And it's just like it stated, you just give advice, but it's up to the commissioners and the mayor and all the rest of the officials to make the final decision. So, we can't put too much pressure on their advisory board. They're very much needed, because it helps us resolve problems, and we bring up the issue, what we hear and what we have in the intake. We bring up those things, and we take it to the commissioners, to their meeting, and the mayor and all those on that staff. But like I said, it's just a advisory. It's just an advice. What we hear, what the people would like to see, and then that is all that board is allowed to do. We don't have the power to do anything other than advise, but it's up to the commissioners, and it's up to those that are in a higher power to resolve those issues. So it's very much needed for the advisory boards. They are very much needed, and we need to keep utilizing them, because you know, we're better together. You know, that's my motto. You know, we're better together.
Thank you so much. And now we will have our last question to be answered by Edward Potts. How would you work to ensure a transparent relationship between the city commission and the city manager and staff? Would you like me to repeat that?
No, that's a very timely question with what we have going on. So I'm working through that currently. I mean, who doesn't want transparency, right? Who doesn't want transparency, and who wouldn't want to seek further information about why we lost, 3 experienced people in our city? I just think that's, to me, it's common sense. So my meetings with the city manager over these last couple of weeks have been very different because we're having very direct conversations. Your job as a commissioner and a member of a board of directors is to oversee the management of the entity, or in our case, the supervision and the hiring and evaluating of your city manager. That is our job. It's not our job to micromanage the city operation, to delve into the work that the directors are responsible for. But when something like this happens, you feel like you're kind of smacked in the head with news, and my concern as a commissioner was, gosh, if we have 3 people leave in this department, how do we avoid that happening in another department? Should we solicit information and feedback from these people? And I believe that doing it publicly and having it on the public record was the proper way to go. So to me, just common sense from that standpoint. I don't know what else I can say. Thank you.
Thank you. Walter Welch, your answer to that question?
I kind of agree with what you just heard. And, to answer that, and that's what I believe that, if we have unity, getting together and have a great bonding between the two, the city commissioners and the city managers and staff. See, we have to be somehow be on the same page in a lot of issues. And a lot of times, respect plays a great role in this. We have to have respect in order to perform transparent relationship. You have to respect each and every one position and staff, and you just have to get along. And that's why my thing is creating this type of respect for one another, creating this type of bonding, because we all got to, like I said at first, we're better together. And if we can have that mindset and work together, and just put everything else aside and just say we got a job to do, and let us just work together on this. You may have some little things you might have not like, or like rub you the wrong way. But we have to put all that aside, and we have to think about the concern of the city, and put everything else aside and just work to resolve what needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Jacob Fletcher, your answer, please.
To establish a transparent relationship, what we need to do is we need to be proactive in this approach instead of reactive. When I hear a lot of the assumptions of what the planners would feel, or if they would want to do an exit interview and that stuff, instead of assuming what they want, we should have been asking them. In the city's actual municipal code, we're not, as a commissioner, you're not allowed to direct employees. But that does not mean you're not allowed to talk to them. You're not allowed to, it doesn't mean you're not allowed to listen to their issues, the problems they face in their departments, because that is critical information to making informed decisions as a commissioner. And when we talk about how do you create a transparent, relationship between the city managers, it's making sure you have a relationship not just with the city manager, but with all of those directors. You would have had a relationship with the director of planning and zoning where you could have seen these issues coming down instead of it being sudden. And what happens now is we have a situation where the commission is reactive to issues because they only go through the city manager. But if we're going to keep people honest, we need to be talking to everybody and creating a better sight picture of what's actually happening here. And so when we talk, again, about transparent relationships with this is what happened to the actual exit interviews when we have a city manager making decisions that's against city policy, right? We want transparency. We need to know why that was done. And if it was incorrect, we need to fix it, but we're not seeing that here. So if we want to create transparent relationships with the city manager, we need to have transparent relationships with everyone.
Thank you. And now we come to the closing statement portion of the forum. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to finish up for the time. Am I wrong? It's 3 minutes?
2 minutes.
Oh,
2 minutes, okay.
I'm sorry.
That is the first mistake Dylan has made. I'm just going to let you know, he does not make mistakes, so we're going to give him grace. So again, with the closing statements, we'll limit those to 2 minutes. And Walter Welch, we will begin with you to make your closing statement.
My closing statement is that, I appreciate being a citizen myself of the city of Alachua. And once again, and that's why I decided to do ministry here as a pastor of True Mission Church of God in Christ Jesus. And I just want to encourage you to vote, and because your vote will make a difference, and just trust trust yourself, and vote what you think will be right to vote for. And as I close with this, I want to be a servant and not to be served. I want to work for the people of Alachua. I want to have a close relationship. I know that you can come to meetings quarterly, but I'm setting up in my shop and in my office where the public can come and see me whensoever they need to make a suggestion or issue. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I want to be a mayor and not just holding a seat. I want you to know that I'm here for you. And your time is valuable with me. And that's what I want to offer to the people.
Thank you. Jacob Fletcher, your closing statement.
I forgot to mention this part earlier. I moved here about almost 4 years now for the job opportunities in Alachua. And since that time, I've built a life here. A life that I hope to settle down in the city. But over the course of years, I've seen a drastic change going on. And it's a change that I'm sure everyone has felt. And it's concerning. And it's one of the reasons why I'm running for a commission seat too. And what I see is a lack of transparency and accountability in our city hall when we bring concerns when we rubber stamp developments without actually looking into it, looking into the issues they face. I see issues with our elections, with how they're promoted or lack of promotion. And I see all these issues, and I know they could be fixed. But I'm afraid that if we continue on the path that we are going, Alachua, or Alachua, still working on that, is on a path of irreversible damage. And the small yet vibrant community that we see and we want to see succeed and grow responsibly is not going to be there. And so I hope by being elected as city commissioner, we can make sure that that the Good Life community, you know, something we are proud of calling ourselves, is actually the Good Life community for everyone, not just now, but for our children in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Edward Potts, your closing statement.
Thank you. Well, again, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and the volunteers and the folks who attended today with the Gators playing, both basketball and baseball. Yeah, I'm thrilled. I know you guys are thrilled that we were able to fill this room up. It's important. And before I forget, vote. Again, my fellow folks up here on at the table encouraged it earlier, and it doesn't matter who you vote for, just vote and encourage your friends and neighbors to do the same thing. In closing for me, my time now is spent with non-for-profit work and civic duty. I ran for city commission because we love living here and this is our permanent home. And permanent home while we're here. And I feel like if we're going to live here, then I better be part of helping and not just sitting in the cheap seats. And so do it. And my wife said it's much better than serving in the homeowners association. A thankless job. So it's for me, civic duty and charitable work are important, but two completely different things, and it's a learning process. Most of us have never served in municipal government. The last time I was elected was student council in 8th grade. My parents owned a McDonald's. I got to give free French fry coupons. You can't do that. I love what I do. I love the potential of our city. We loved it enough to decide to remain here, but there are so many things on the horizon for us. It's important to push forward and advance those things on our strategic plan that I'd like to see to completion. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. The interesting thing about League of Women Voters forums is that we don't give out those questions ahead of time. And so the very fact that you have put yourself out here to answer those questions with cold calls on those questions, we so thank you for that. And your presence is important, but so is yours. The people who have been here have been so polite, and so we're just grateful that you were here. We know these candidates want you to go out and get other people to vote. I mean, that 14% could grow as a result of your being here and letting people know. The League of Women Voters is very nonpartisan, right? We are not about which one of you wins. We are about making sure you have the information that you need to make an informed decision. And so the very fact that you're here is such a wonderful responsibility that you have done as a citizen, and I want to thank you very much for that. So we're done with the questions. You can spend time talking with the candidates afterward. We did, thank you to Hitchcock's. They donated the cookies and the drinks back there. We're not really interested in taking them home. So you can, we want you to feel like you can sit and talk and be with us and enjoy the company of everyone. We want to thank all of you for being here, and I hope that you will enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you so much.
I would just like everyone to know that if you vote by mail and have not yet renewed your vote by mail for the new cycle, because after every general election now, all of that goes away and you have to ask for your vote by mail. This will run through the through the midterms next year. It will be good through that election in November of next year. We have the forms up here to fill out if you need to vote by mail. The supervisor elections.